Solange is getting tired of seeing Beyonce being maltreated by her brother-in-law. This time, she's not backing down. Who am I kidding? We've always known that JayZ and Solange have never been on the best of terms, especially after the fight on the elevator went viral on social media. If you've been following up on Diddy's case for a while, you probably heard the gist of how he's being accused of rape, drugging, and pedophilia. But that isn't even the least of his crimes. He's also been accused of running a drug trafficking ring. But it turns out that Diddy isn't alone in all of these. He might just have a friend and partner in JayZ. Diddy and JayZ have been friends for many years. They've been with each other through thick and thin, even when Diddy was surrounded by controversy. JayZ still invited him to every one of his infamous parties, which is why he wasn't totally surprising when Rodney Jr., a producer who accused Diddy of sexually assaulting him, also name-drops JayZ and other A-listers in Hollywood in his 75-page lawsuit. Talk about the bombshell of the decade. It is basically an open secret that JayZ has done some real shady things throughout the course of his career, and while we've often heard a few bits and pieces of his story, like how he was once involved in gang violence or stabbed a man in the club, people just couldn't help but skip over these cold, hard facts. After all, he's the king of Hollywood. But it seems like JayZ might not be able to step past the drama swirling around him this time, causing Solange is trying to get him some jail time. Now, why would Beyonce's sister be willing to send him to jail when Beyonce would gladly throw punches to defend her husband? It turns out that Solange has been holding grudges against JayZ for a long time, and one could hardly blame her. JayZ has cheated on Beyonce with far more women than some people's toothbrush count. JayZ might have married the nicer sister, but Solange will make sure he pays for his crimes, even if it means becoming an assistant to the feds. And she's not settling for minimum jail term. Instead, she's trying to take Diddy and JayZ down, even going so far as to give some highly confidential information to the cops. But before we get into some of the insane tea she's been spilling, why don't we find out exactly why Solange declared an all-out war against JayZ? Ever since Solange first found out that JayZ was a cold, hard cheat, she's been trying to convince Beyonce to ditch him and grab half of his property. Okay, maybe not half of his property, but you get the point. It all started when JayZ started breaking Beyonce's heart while secretly hanging out with Becky with the good hair. Furthermore, Becky's attractive hair was not really a catchphrase from Beyonce's sorry. She's a real-life woman and one of JayZ's side chicks. After Beyonce released her Lemonade album, her ever-loyal fans, the Beehives, were teeming in anticipation for some spicy divorce drama because the lyrics of her songs were all pointing in that direction. But surprisingly, just a few months after Beyonce released this album, she announced that she was pregnant with twins. Coincidence? I think not. It's no secret that JayZ takes to the main media to profess his feelings for Beyonce whenever they get into an argument. Unfortunately, Beyonce keeps getting roped in because she's so madly in love with him. But it turns out that Becky with the good hair wasn't the only woman in JayZ's life. But just to show you how much of a cheat JayZ is, let's take you back to 2011. Just a few days after Beyonce shared the wonderful news that she was pregnant, JayZ's side chick at the time, Kathy White, passed away under the most tragic circumstances. But here's where it all gets crazy. It turns out that Kathy had been beefing with Jay before her death because he'd blindsided her with the pregnancy announcement. How could he be confessing his love for her every night and promising her heaven on earth when he was still busy sharing a king-size bed with Beyonce? So Kathy decided to pay dirt for dirt by reaching out to a reporter. Now, you know how show business works. Celebrities don't like getting their hands dirty, which is why JayZ was angered at these allegations. JayZ was put on the hot seat for cheating on his wife, who looked absolutely stunning and was easily the center of anyone's dream, or at least everyone except JayZ. The tabloids couldn't wait to hear Kathy's side of the whole story, which is why the world was shocked when Kathy mysteriously passed away in what seemed like a staged murder. Kathy's death was just way too convenient for JayZ at the time. But to make matters worse, Kathy's social media accounts disappeared in the same mysterious way which led many trolls and fans on social media to suggest that she had been killed. Some even pointing fingers at JayZ, who seemed to have the strongest motive to kill her at the time. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. After all, there's no concrete evidence to nail JayZ to the crime. Regardless of what happened, it was pretty obvious that Kathy's death was no ordinary accident. At first, Kathy's social media accounts were suddenly wiped off the internet like she didn't exist in the first place. Then as the conflicting autopsy reports, like the cops initially released a statement that Kathy had died due to a head injury, went to go back on their words and revealed that she had probably died because of aneurysm. While aneurysms often happen without warning, an NYPD detective who was in charge of the case revealed that Kathy's cause of death was unknown. The whole thing was basically covered up like it didn't even happen. But here's where the truth hits the fan. It turns out that Solange has plans to nail JayZ to the cross by handing over some real shady evidence that might just prove that he has something to do with her death. But if you think that Solange is taking things a little bit too far, you should probably hear of the story of Olivia McFarlane, another one of JayZ's alleged side chicks. So it turns out that JayZ was trying to make a move on Olivia while he was still with Beyonce. According to her, JayZ sent a bodyguard to get her digits while using his favorite pickup line, "I will reach you when I'm in town. I want you to be my girl." Now, we don't exactly know Olivia's response to the entire thing. All we know is that she bumped into him at No in Miami, and JayZ decided to take the more manly approach to asking her out. While JayZ was busy throwing out some of his world-famous pickup lines and getting Olivia hooked up on his words, Solange spotted them and walked over as quickly as she could. Olivia was lucky to avoid being given a whooping on the cahoots by Solange that day. But let's be honest, Solange takes her big sister very seriously and is extremely protective of her. It was because of this same incident that she started trying to convince her sisters to leave him. It has been a difficult nut for Solange to crack since Beyonce appears to be faithful to her partner, at least for the time being. Beyonce and JayZ appear to be the perfect picture of a power couple, ruling the entertainment industry and all. But when no one is watching, things take a totally different turn. There's more to their relationship than meets the eye. The stakes are huge and they're measured in billions of dollars. So long as they remain a couple, they will continue to rule Hollywood and keep money swimming in. And do you recall Carter's ex-bodyguard who went live on Instagram and bragged? He really blew it open there while making claims that the relationship between Beyonce and JayZ is a business arrangement. He also talked about how they're only staying married for the money. Absurd, isn't it? But that's how it works for most Hollywood power couples. He was absolutely right about that. As a couple, Beyonce and JayZ are unstoppable. When they're united, they're more powerful than when they're divided. And they'll keep staying together as long as their safety nets are unbroken. Hear me out though. Solange thinks her sister deserves more than JayZ, and she's making a concerted effort to end their relationship. Up until recently, everyone believed their marriage was unbreakable, but it looks like we were all completely mistaken. The marriage of JayZ and Beyonce has apparently been in shambles for the last few weeks. A blogger named Storm Ruse recently revealed that Beyonce is considering ending their marriage, and they've been living apart for some time now. Storm claims that the federal government is investigating JayZ, and this is going to backfire on them in a huge way. But to make matters worse, he is dealing with an even higher level of the same accusations as Diddy. It is not completely out of the question that JayZ and Diddy, given their close connection, may have been involved in similar antics. Storm has gone so far as to suggest that Beyonce has no intention of sinking with the ship. There will be no return for her if JayZ is implicated. Up until Diddy completely throws JayZ under the bus, they are essentially stuck with each other. Let me tell you something regarding Homeland Security. They're not your typical cop. They spare no effort with their investigations. There will be no such thing as rush work. Careful planning and execution are key to their success. They'll cross their fingers for what seems like an eternity before taking any sort of action. That is the reason behind their incredibly high success rate, more than 95% to be exact. There will be no gains from them. Solange and JayZ's big fight on the elevator might just be the first of their physical squabbles to come, and Solange would gladly protect her sister from the king of crooks. She has always been quite protective of Beyonce, even though she is her younger sister. Remember when she summoned the police to their house? We all do. Yeah, that was just one instance where she protected her sister. But now we're in the present day and all sorts of things are happening. It appears the federal government has what it needs to go after Diddy, the smoking gun. Their raids on his homes in Miami and Los Angeles were planned and executed in perfect synchronization. The simultaneity of their strikes indicates just how serious the situation is. Completely risk-free, no shortcuts used. Diddy evaded capture during the assault, but his sons Justin and Christian didn't fare so well. As the feds searched every inch of the properties, they were led to custody while handcuffed. Their search for evidence left no stone unturned as they rummaged through Diddy's bedroom, as shown in the clip that has surfaced online. Discovery of Diddy's private plane in the Caribbean naturally led to rumors that he had fled to Antigua in an attempt to elude the authorities. Reportedly, TMZ followed Diddy's private Love Air LLC jet, a famous black Gulfstream 5 that Diddy has ridden for many years. The plane appears to be parked on Antigua, a Caribbean island, right now. Since Diddy was spotted at Miami International Airport looking disturbed and extremely distressed, it was determined that this had been an unfounded alarm. Diddy, I suppose you're wondering what's next. It would be reasonable to assume that Diddy would be languishing in jail after the raid and all the evidence against him. However, he is enjoying life to the fullest while his sons and suspected drug mule are all in prison. So what's going on? Reports indicate that the federal government is taking a patient approach with Diddy. He seems to be oblivious to the scope of this entire disaster. In the grand scheme of things, he is but a pawn. Do you recall that I said before that the government frequently used spill the beans tactics to persuade suspects to confess in order to strengthen their cases? Evidently, that is precisely what is taking place here. In return for Diddy's pardon and his boys' freedom, they are counting on him to spill the beans to higher ups. Who do you think is first on their list of targets? Definitely Jay-Z. According to rumors, Diddy is prepared to accuse Jay-Z of being involved in all this chaos. There's a lot to be revealed given the long-running suspicions surrounding Jay-Z's shady business. But it turns out that Diddy isn't the only one betraying Jay-Z. Solange is also willing to assist the federal government without paying a dime. A reliable source revealed that she views this as a final opportunity to free her sister from Jay-Z's clutches. She's seizing the chance because she knows Beyonce will leave Jay-Z once his ship wrecks like the Titanic. And she intends to use that to her advantage by assisting in Jay-Z's imprisonment. And I bet Solange literally burst out in a crazy jig after hearing that the cops started looking into Jay-Z. But what do y'all think? Will Jay-Z survive this crazy nightmare or will he be roped in? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below and make sure to subscribe for instant updates on this tea and more juicy gossip.